So this video was supposed to be a preview of Barcelona versus Arsenal in the Champions League final, but Nikki Doucet had other plans for me, because for some reason, the WSL rebranded to the World Surf League. Oh, sorry, wrong picture. Listen, there's so much to go into here, so just hang with me. What the fuck? I am currently studying sport industry management right now, and I can tell you that doing a rebrand, even if it's just a logos, costs upwards of millions of dollars at sports leagues, mostly because those fees go to consultants. Whoever consulted this for the WSL deserves to lose a job. So if you missed it, Nikki Doucet said at the recent Barclays award show that there was something on its way. Then on Sunday, the Barclays WSL Twitter account tweeted this: "Tomorrow, 10 a.m., our channels, a new era." That feels like a threat. I'll be honest, at first I was scared that they were going to remove relegation, since they were considering that earlier in the year, but thank God walked that back. Doucet has also said she wants women's football to have a Glastonbury-like feeling, which... Huh? Like, listen, I've had a bad feeling about Doucet ever since she became in charge of the WPLL, and boy were my instincts right. Before touching any of the logo things, it's important to understand that the top two leagues, the WSL and the Championship, changed governing structure in 2024, creating a new organization to, quote, lead the women's professional game into a new era. Please go back. They appointed Nikki Doucet as the CEO, someone whose background is mostly in finance, like real finance. We're talking Citigroup Global Markets. So, her biggest experience in sports, you ask? Oh, she was the general manager of Nike Women's UK. And yes, she's Canadian, so now we've got someone from the financial sector in North America trying to govern an English football league. I mean, come on, and I'm saying this as an American. From the beginning, it was obvious this wasn't someone who really gets football culture, especially not in England. There's a difference between running a brand campaign and actually understanding the heartbeat of a football league. And that gap is showing with this rebrand. Pretty quickly after the announcement, people found the new trademarks that the WPLL registered, and the backlash was immediate. Not only that, it exposed that they are renaming the Women's Championship to WSL 2, which is also deeply controversial for reasons that I'll get into later. The immediate backlash was so bad within the first few hours that they deleted the original announcement tweet. But after spending so much money on it, they couldn't walk back. So Monday, it launched. To overwhelming negativity. Like, I have not seen a single positive comment on any of their channels. So if you're looking at this and wondering what's wrong with it, I'm about to tell you, and there are a lot of reasons. Before we get to the new logos, let's talk about the marketing angle, because it's wild. The whole campaign is like, we're more than a league. And honestly, no, you can just be a league, that's enough, please. They're trying to sell this like it's a music festival, not a football competition. And to be fair, they said they wanted to go that route, but the execution, it's giving girl boss aesthetic. Like, look at this. Pitch, please? Come on, man, we're better than this. I think this tweet really sums up my feelings about it. The way they're marketing it makes it feel like they don't think football itself is enough to sell tickets, which is just so backwards and wrong. They're aiming at this narrow demographic of parents and teen girls, like that's all the sport can appeal to. And in doing that, they're actually infantilizing women's football. Treating the WSL like a family-friendly alternative to the Premier League is way more hurtful to the growth of women's football than they think. You can tell by the colors and aesthetic also that they're trying to make it more girly, I guess? Which again, as someone who studies sports business, huge mistake. This is a massive misread of the actual audience. Most viewers of women's football are men. At the 2023 Women's World Cup, 58% of UK viewers were men. That's not an outlier. Across all sports, men make up the majority of the audience regardless of the gender of the athletes. This is another quote from Doucet, which in my opinion proves she's not equipped to understand European football. No, we should be leaning into tribalism actually. Look, do we want hooliganism? No, maybe not, but there are benefits to that vibe, especially if you can get club fans to get more invested in the women's game. It's easier to attract returning customers than new ones, yet they're trying to reach a completely different demographic. I think it's pretty clear this isn't targeted towards fans. It's targeted towards investors in private equity to link themselves to something seemingly progressive. Like, do you think Michelle Kang is investing this much out of the goodness of her heart? No, she's posturing. It can lead to good, but she's doing this for her image. This is making the league more palatable to other investors who don't understand football. Private equity. It's pretty clear that Doucet and other executives of the WPLL doesn't understand football culture on any level, especially in England, and this is on display in their choice to rename the second tier that we'll get into later. First off, this logo is a clear downgrade. You have something with substance here, right? A crest, simple but unique. Something you can try to draw. The most iconic sports leagues in the world have logos that you can recreate in your head clearly, but stand out against others. Then you have this. This looks like a logo for an energy consulting company that states it's worldwide but only has headquarters in Washington, D.C. and London. Like, I don't get the vision here. Nothing here screams football league or football adjacent in general. Like, is it supposed to be a football? I don't know. It also results in this social media profile pic, which... Huh? Like, it's just lines. Meanwhile, this is the Premier Leagues. See the difference? This has character! This looks like it could be a logo for a last-second international break invitational tournament like the Arnold Cup or the She Believes Cup, and it would still get fan flack. The main reasons this feels so off is how corporate it is. It is a mockery of football. This goes for both of the logos also. I assume the icon will be on the armband and like, ugh, that feels so wrong. Now, onto the text logo. This is really bad from a differentiation standpoint. Like, if you don't know, the WSL shares an acronym with another sports league, the World Surf League. This is their logo. Look familiar? For years, the Women's Super League has had SEO problems about this. If you search WSL on Google, you'll end up with the surfing league's pages instead of anything football related. That's why the old crescent logo made sense. It avoided using WSL so prominently. But now they've tossed that all out and made themselves even less visible. It's like, hey, let's make it even harder to tell them apart, even though most English football fans might not even know we are called this. Like, look, this logo looks like it could be more of the World Surf League's logo than the WSL's. And it's also not just that, this is also unoriginal. The coloring feels like a knockoff of the classic WNBA text logo, but the WNBA has earned that identity. They've owned that look for years with a strong visual brand behind it. This, it looks like someone copied the WNBA logo and just tilted it. See the slant of the W? That's what ESPN does for ESPNW for its woman-specific page. They're clearly trying to emphasize the W as in woman, but this whole thing kind of strips the league of its identity. The old logo had a shape, a visual you could associate with the league. I can't imagine associating anything with this. Even worse than the logo, they made it be the same across the WSL and Women's Championship. What? These are two different leagues. Having the same logo is objectively stupid. Which brings us to the biggest takeaway from this whole rebrand. The second division is no longer the Women's Championship. It's now being called WSL 2. Actually, the women's second tier did actually used to be called the WSL 2 until 2018, where they then adopted the Women's Championship. Of course, mirroring the EFL pyramid on the men's side. Let me just say, there's a reason why it was originally renamed. In the UK and European football culture, sticking a 2 on something usually means it's a developmental or reserve side. Like Premier League 2, that's an under-21 league. In England and in Europe, it's a common structure. Like, I support Rosenborg in Norway, and their second team is literally called Rosenborg 2. They play in the 4th tier, it's a youth team. So bringing back WSL 2 makes the second division just sound like a feeder league, which it's not. That label devalues the entire competition and creates an even stronger barrier in between. Now, it is a possibility that second-tier clubs actually did want this, like, because this gives a stronger branding tie to WSL, and I get that. But listen, this won't help. The launch video doesn't even feature a single WSL 2 club. Like, I'm not kidding. Not one. It's not about inclusion, it's about accessibility to those unfamiliar with English football. One of the largest problems, though, with this rebrand isn't the rebrand itself, it is that there's so many other things that Women's Super League has to address besides their branding. Do you want to know what really stood out to a lot of fans in that announcement video, though? The clip they used of Bunny Shaw. Now, it's a really powerful moment. During an Arsenal game, Shaw was racially abused by the fans and had to take a step back from playing a few games. She scored in her return, of course, and made this Black Power salute. Again, a powerful moment. But then, in the video, the words over it say,
"We're not just a league, we're a movement."
We are a movement. And it's like, hold on, we? Because if I remember right, the WSL completely dropped the ball when this happened and failed Bunny Shaw. Look, it's not a secret that English women's football has had a really bad track record when it comes to race. And when Bunny was abused, the league missed the whole point somehow. It coincided with Chelsea's Millie Bright getting called shit by fans during a game, which, yeah, not that great. But those two situations are obviously not the same. Still, the league lumped them together in a joint statement. Like, oh no, fan abuse is bad, and use them both as examples? Like, what? You cannot compare racist abuse to fans criticizing someone's performance. There are levels to this. And it goes deeper. The WSL has had a problem with racial bias in officiating for years. Just look at the players like Olivia Smith, Bunny, and Myra Ramirez. They're players that get hacked down constantly, and refs swallow their whistle. There's a real bias at play. It's a fact that non-white players get fewer calls, and it's tied to tired, old stereotypes about physicality. So now, to see the league use Bunny's moment in their promo like, look at how powerful our players are, look how they take a stand, it's just performative from the WSL. Like, no, protect them. Myra Ramirez was literally almost killed on the pitch, and the ref didn't give a card. Where's the energy then? Listen, the whole point here is that there are much larger issues the WSL has aside from their branding. There's still no VAR, and many will consider that a good thing. They even allude to it in their marketing. But the refereeing in the WSL is god-awful. Like, we need VAR so some of these players can get more cards. Instead of investing all this money in the rebrand, they could have invested in referee infrastructure. They could have explored potential campaigns to protect their players from racial abuse. They could have expanded the Women's Super League from 12 to 16 teams, made promotions 2 up and 2 down instead of just 1, integrated academies. But no. Instead of addressing real problems in the league, we get this. Something that strips away its identity when they really should be expanding the leagues. Look, North Americans coming in and fundamentally misunderstanding English football is nothing new, and this is coming from someone who grew up in the United States. This whole rebrand is corporate girl bossification. Like, even the WNBA over here in the States doesn't make that mistake. They lean into the fact that people like the league because the girls are rough with each other and actually defend, unlike the NBA. They get into fights, trash talk on the court, and the fan base loves it. Instead, this rebrand is shying away from having any identity appealing to actual football fans and culture. Football is identity. People's clubs are large parts of their identity. And when that's very clearly being over-commercialized, issues arise. Like, I have wrote a whole thesis about this. When you make something for everybody, you end up appealing to nobody. The old logo was good. The new one is trying to modernize something that was already working. And you know, this whole minimalist and modern logo thing is the worst thing to happen in sports because it removes the soul of the team and leagues, takes identity out of it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you think about the WSL rebrand? And as always, I'm looking for more content, so please let me know if you want me to cover something.